I needed to do before we go live, so I'm doing them with you. I am hanging my wash. So it is a beautiful, beautiful day here in North Idaho. It is sunny. How about I move those down here? There we go. This is like real life, guys. Live video doesn't portray anything else but reality, and this is real life in Idaho. We've got chores to do and things to accomplish, and I needed to get this out, and it has been a crazy week here on the homestead. So we had to put our old dog down, Rambler the Healer. We put down on Monday, which was a very sad day. But also comforting because he was really hitting a bad place and we didn't want him to suffer. So it was for the best, but it's always sad. He was a loyal dog, a very great protector and a good friend. And you know, that happens in life. And if you're homesteading, it's even more accelerated because typically when you're homesteading, you have animals, you have chickens, you have all kinds of livestock. And you know, although it's your livestock and it is to help you be self-sustainable, they still find a place in your heart. So that was a tough day, but we're thankful that it's over and we're still mourning his loss, but for the best. So for those of you that have also lost animals recently, my heart goes out to you because it is definitely, you know, it's heart-wrenching. And if you all could please be praying for our mountain boy. I ran to Spokane yesterday with him to a orthopedic clinic to try to accelerate and get us answers. And it was kind of it was very concerning. You hear me talk about our medical system all the time and how it just isn't what it once was. And I didn't deal with a doctor, I dealt with a PA, but his, for lack of better terms, bedside manner was really not too much to be desired. And anyway, I pushed for an MRI so that we have answers, because he wasn't very comforting. Let me just put it this way. He mentioned to Austin about his weight and said that he sees he has big legs, and he sees that he got them honestly because his mom has them too. Face palm, hello. I gave him lots of grace, but I do have it recorded. But it's just a sad human being. But anyway, he also was going back and forth between physical therapy and MRI. And then he said, I really don't know for sure if I'm qualified to even be talking about this because normally I'm a knee and elbow guy. You know, I don't do work with backs. So, you know, so I just pushed for the MRI. So anyway, the boy is in a lot of pain and could greatly use your prayers for healing, prayers for discernment, prayers for answers. I'm almost done here and then we can talk a little better without me running back and forth and hanging my wash. Oh, but while we're on here, let me show you, because these are very worth mentioning, and anytime I'm out here with you guys, I do share these. There we go. That, my friends, is a clothespin, okay? Store-bought, specially made. See the difference? These things are amazing. I've not had one of them go wrong in maybe 8 years. These are amazing. These are to hold potato chip bags closed, right? This is to hang wash. These don't let jeans fly off the wash line. If you're interested in those, you can go, I believe the link is trayerwilderness.com/clothespins. Do you hear my resident frog? He stopped now, of course. The frog's about this big and he's got vocal cords like a king. Amazing. Comes every year. It's very funny. We have him every year about this time. He's been in the woodshed and he's under the bathhouse, so makes it funny. All right, I'm good. Wash is hung. Thank you all for dealing with me while I hung my wash. I want to show you something else while we're out here. Ooh, I got the big tripod in my hand and it's a little longer than I am. So I'm going to do a separate video on this, but I want to share this with you quick. Dun, da, da. For starters, this is all wood for the bathhouse underneath here. But what I'm showing you is our solar panel. It's a 200-watt panel, and we will never have to run the generator or anything for the bathhouse ever again. The reason we did was so we had an outlet in there if the mountain man was cutting his hair or shaving, and the light and the RV pump will run flawlessly, endlessly on these two batteries that are in there. They're both 12 volts, and this is charging it beautifully. So super excited about that. That right there is a very inexpensive panel, which I will share more information on the video I'm putting out with the details on that, because I'll show the whole system, but I wanted to share that with you. So Miss Carol, you've got power now to your little shanty. Miss Copper, come. We're gonna go inside. Look at this. Oops. Can you see? Where is he at? He blends. Can you see the big cat? I don't know. Lighting is really bad. There we go. There's Miss Copperhead sunbathing. And there he is in the shade, hiding out. Gotta love the animals. Again, sorry about the movement. Sorry about the big tripod. I gotta get in here and switch to the small one. Come on, missus. Come on. I need you in here so I know where you're at. Come on. Copper. Come on. So how are you guys? Sorry for the very big close-up there. It's terrible. Nothing like getting that much of a close-up. Okay. Let's see if I can maybe use this in here by spreading it way out. Maybe. Let's see. It's one of those weeks, guys. It's one of those weeks. 4 hours on the road yesterday and taking care of the old dog Monday, and the rest of the week looks about the same. So, but it's all right. It's all good. I think I saw Miss Jane pop in here. Miss Jane. Thank you, beautiful friend. Woo! And sadly, I just got that out of the post office box yesterday, so I'm not sure how long that has been there, but thank you so very much. That's awesome. Okay, I'm going to turn on the other machine here so I'm not swiping the screen. Whew, I need to take a deep breath. All right. Are you guys doing the same thing, taking deep breaths and trying to keep up with the ride, keeping your hands in and hanging on for dear life? Are you doing that? I'm doing that. Let me see if I can find my live video on here. Oh, man. All right. Okay, so we are on. We got a full house. Miss Tracy's in the house. Good morning. Miss Melissa. Good morning. And we got Miss Jane. We got Miss Mill. Beautiful day. I just came in. I know, isn't it awesome out? It's just gorgeous. I would love to be out there, but it's so bright. And I didn't put my chair in the back, so I would have been hauling that around too. So we're in here. Although I do need to get some fresh air in here. Whoa. There we go. Ooh, that feels good. That feels good. Oh, I got my EMF beanie. It's quite something. I'll have to share that with you guys then too. Melissa says, weather looks good there. Here, not so much, cold and wet. That was what it was earlier in the week. Weekend was pretty miserable, but we got rain, which means we can now have campfires and fires in the chimney outside. So it's nice, and it's typically the start of our fall, which has been setting in for a while already. So I'm gonna I'll leave it go. Mill says, Tammy T, I'm the same way. If nobody's in the yard, outside dogs come in for safety. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind leaving her out when I'm not distracted, but when I'm distracted and there are ravens flying around over something, so my guess is that a coyote took something out last night, and I don't want her wandering off, nor if the coyotes are around calling her in or sneaking around. So yeah, not a good idea. Not a good idea at all. Oh, and God bless her. You know, Monday we put Rambler down and we went I ran to the post office. Oh my goodness. I ran to the post office. I'll show you that in a minute. I came back and she's circling the truck all excited thinking that I brought him back. And then yesterday we went for a walk and I was training her because we had to bell him up. We always had to collar him and put his bell on so we knew where he was. And actually it got to the point where that was too heavy for his neck, poor thing. But we went to go for the walk. So I was teaching her and training her to get that for me. And she went to get it to go for our walk. So yeah, there's constant reminders, but it was for the best, but it still pulls on the heartstrings for sure. So Melissa says, going pretty good, busy with school, etc. Melissa, I got your emails, all of them, and I am praying for you guys wholeheartedly. Lots of good and bad, or I should say good and crazy. But you're in my prayers. Know that God has purpose in everything, and I know you know that. So Jane says, well, I was wondering when you were going to pick your package up, lol. I know, I'm sorry. That's so awesome. Yeah, Miss Jane had this sent to me. This is concrete craft, and I am going to put my tea bags in this all winter long. This is so awesome, and she knows me in my heart, so this is awesome. So thank you so much. That was such a treat on my way home last night, so I'm so excited. Thank you very, very much. You're such a sweetheart. Tracy says, I'm incredibly sad because I think I am having an issue with coffee and I need my coffee. Let me help you with that. There's several different ones, but this one I like the most. Ugh. Now, I have the bag here, but I also have, and I don't think this is like, it's also probably some kind of goofy thing in the 40s or 50s, maybe 60s. It's not an old jar, but it's unique. So I have it in here, so it's on my shelf, but because I've been going through it and I just didn't take this out into the container because I needed to show it to Tracy, that's why, right? Is the Dandy Blend. This is awesome. You can add it, I add it to my coffee. You can also add it to warm milk, hot water. But this is awesome, and I'll share with you everything that's in it. It's extracts of roasted barley, rye, chicory root, dandelion root, and sugar beet. And it's very finely ground, as you saw. So you can just take it and put it in, and it dissolves. And you don't have grit, grime on the bottom of your cup when you're done. It completely dissolves. And nothing less than that in my house. So you've got the non-GMO, and you can find it by going to trayerwilderness.com/dandyblend. Awesome stuff. If that doesn't work for you, let me know. I've got other options. I will share those with you also. Okay, and yes, I understand your sadness because for 7 years I had to do herbal stuff as well because I could not do the coffee. One thing I have found beyond organic coffee is getting my beans and doing them myself, the green beans, and roasting them. I use a whirly pop, a popcorn popper, on my grill or on my stove. And the other thing is getting beans that have less acid. Depends on the struggles you're having with the coffee. If it's the caffeine, then you're going to have to switch to the Dandy Blend. If it is the acid, there's ways around that. Cold coffee, cold brew coffee is less acidic. And there are certain coffees, which I will share next week, that are grown differently that have less acid. So I will share that more with you guys then. Bear with me a second. Tracy, oh, Mill said to switch to, okay, there's a couple comments after that. Okay, so Melissa said try chicory, yep. And Mill said, I inherited a large bucket of clothespins. They're the worst. Yes, those heavy duty ones are the best, and they are handcrafted. They are good people too that are making them. So I love supporting small business and home-based business. Trace says, thanks, Melissa. I have been wanting to try it anyway. We'll definitely will. And Mill says, Tracy, switch to herbal tea. Right. Well, tea, we are tea connoisseurs and coffee connoisseurs here. So, and we go back and forth. Sometimes I'll do hot tea. Actually, I've done it pretty often this summer. But a lot of times we do cold, sun brewed tea and then ice it. And coffee's always, but wintertime becomes a time of switching and changing things up. Sometimes you get tired of drinking the same thing, so you switch it up. So teas come into play in the winter. So we have a lot of tea selections. And I will share, the only way I remember this stuff is to make notes. So next week I will share with you other coffees and teas, because I've got some really phenomenal resources for you guys that are not expensive, that are home done, homegrown, home processed, and they are amazing companies, and I want you guys to get connected. So come back next week, same time, Wednesday, 10:30 Pacific Standard Time, and I will share that with you guys. Tracy says, thank you to Melissa. Oh, there's another one. Tracy said, I don't drink a lot of herbal tea already, but it's not the same as coffee. I know, right? There's something about that thick, creamy. And then to boot, I get half the pot, seriously, in this cup. The mountain man came back. Austin and I found this when we went to the urgent care. We had stopped to get his prescription, and I found that at the store next door. And that's awesome. It's a little hard to handle. I mean, this thing's massive. It's as big as my head, but it's perfect. But yes, there's just a difference. One thing I find, I like to use oat milk or cashew milk if you're doing non-dairy, because they're thicker and I like them a lot. So when I make my golden drinks with turmeric and ghee or coconut oil and things like that, and adding cinnamon, different things, those are more like a coffee to me because it's thicker and it's got more substance. Tea just doesn't have that substance. So I totally hear you, sister. I totally hear you. Melissa says, yes, they have coffee blended with chicory too. Yes, there's quite a few. Yes, and or chaga or red reishi. Yes, or turkey tail. I've gotten quite a few that have all the mushrooms in it, and they're amazing and very healthy for you. So I gave up coffee several years ago, and now I can't stand the smell of it, blah. Isn't that funny? I've given it up quite a few times, but I end up always coming back to it. So, and just finding things to help make it healthier. So, and to be able to make it more beneficial for myself. So like I said, the green beans is one thing that I've really leaned toward. Melissa says, I love coffee, but refrain. I like chicory a lot, and Starbucks almond milk creamer and the caramel. I used to love those things, but I can't touch them. That's like poison for me. So I make my own, which is fine. I'm totally good with what I got, and I love it. And you know, the more you fine tune it, the better it gets. So you find your perfect mixture. Tracy says, I'm hoping if I get myself lined out that maybe I can have it again and just not drink as much. I would really love something that I can grow myself. Exactly. And that's just it. You know, everything in moderation is key. That clip is like making my head hurt. Jane says, Tracy, try white blonde coffee, less acidic, worked for me. There you go. And where do you find that, Jane? Mill says, never heard of blonde white tea. Interesting. That's dangerous. Hope it's nothing like the rest of us, right? No, just kidding. Just kidding. Melissa says, going to try cold brew. Cold brew is really good. And also adding salt. I add Himalayan salt to my, or Celtic salt to my coffee, my percolator, so that it doesn't have as much acid. So that is something else you can do. Mill says, I'm a mug girl too. Love my mugs. I know. There's just something about a good mug. It's very comforting, and it's like my happy place. So, and you will get it. My husband doesn't, and that's okay. But he's just happy that I'm happy. So that's all that's good. Mill says, I was fermenting a SCOBY and we had a cold snap, killed the process, so I have to start over. Oh, that sucks. That really sucks. Yes. And for those of you that have never had kombucha, and or you would like to start and you don't have a SCOBY, you don't know how to get one, there's places you can buy them online. Oh, the place just went out of my head. But if you purchase a non-GMO kombucha in the store, like is it T? Oh, I can't think of his initials. I just got one, actually. I got one for the Mountain Man. These are really good. There's a bunch of different brands. GTs. I should know that. Something like this. Now that has chia seeds in it, so that's why it looks so weird. I love drinks with chia seeds. So wholesome. But what you can do with that is, instead of, when you look at the recipes, it calls for the sugar and it calls for the starter. And right there's your starter. Put that in, add water, and you will grow a SCOBY from that, because there's pieces of the mother in it. So we're not talking aliens and odd things, just fermenting. So it's all good. Mill said, meant coffee, not tea, brain fart. I knew what you were saying. I just skipped right over it because I knew exactly what you were saying. But I have to be careful with kombucha. I did actually buy that for me, and then I'm like, that's foolish, because I know that fermented foods make me flare, but I love them. But I can't have them because my body is so sensitive to mycotoxins and biotoxins, and because that's fermented, it causes me to flare. So that's a real pisser. Melissa says, I used to drink kombucha, but was told to avoid it from... Yep, mold detox. Does that sound right? Yes, it does. If I have them and I eat too much fermented food, I flare. Your body receives it as though it is toxic because you had an overload. I hope at some point I will be able to do it in moderation, maybe, but when I start drinking kombuchas, it's like something I really enjoy. So I need to also be careful with that. But I avoid them just because it has caused me to flare. And even though that doctor said I have big thighs, I'm in a size down and I'm heading toward the next size down. So he can just go pound sand. But anyway, just keep telling yourself good stuff. I keep telling myself it's not my body, it's my brain. I have made it a point not to focus on all those things, and I'm just living my life and being happy. There are those things that I know are going to cause me great difficulties. So for right now, I just avoid them, but hope that down the line, I will be able to get myself to such a healthy place and my mind to such a healthy place, because they go together, whether you want to believe it or not. It is science and God first, but there is science behind it. Just not God. They don't have science behind that, but you know what I'm saying. Anyway, so hopefully eventually Melissa will be able to have that stuff again. We just need to get ourselves completely whole and wholesome. So Mill says, can't drink the chia seed kombucha. The texture makes me gag. I get that. I love it. I love chia seeds. Melissa says, thanks, by the way, for prayers. Yes, lots of breakthrough, but some attack, betrayal, such as life, all is well. Yes, life comes in big blasts sometimes, but it is life, and it's what creates us and makes us stronger. It helps us learn to armor up. It also helps us to not make the same mistakes again. And everything happens for a reason. So I look at it that way, and I look for the learning lesson, and you keep going on. You'll be good, and our prayers will help. I know that. So hang in there. Mill says, wow, you guys, first I ever heard of toxic flares from kombucha. I wonder if I should be investigate because I'm dealing with flares. I don't know the source. Have you ever had mold toxicity? Because if you have anything fermented, including, I have to be really careful because you know how powerfully amazing and healthy the mushrooms are for our bodies, but they too are a spore. So I'm very, very careful with my intake of such, and try to avoid those things. But yes, kombucha, because of my mold toxicity, is toxic. Anything fermented, I've got to be very, very, very careful. And in, you know, being very careful quantity wise if I do have some. Good afternoon. Well, I'm not sure. Is it evening for you, Keith? It might be evening or the next day. I'm not sure. But Keith is joining us from New Zealand, sending info to Tammy by snail mail. Thank you. I treasure you for sharing all that you do. I'm so thankful. So thank you. Thank you. Mill says, never had mold exposure that I'm aware of, but you had lots of toxicity in your system and a lot of trauma. You might try eliminating that and seeing if you stop flaring. It could also be something in your environment, and mold in your environment can also cause you to flare. And if you guys aren't aware, there's different types of mold. There's tree mold, there's snow mold. There's a lot of mold. So if you're in an area, I don't know if you've been dealing with the drought or you've been dealing with moisture this year. I'm trying to remember. But that can cause you to flare, especially if your system is weak and your immune system is weak. So just some thoughts. Mill says, mold is everywhere, unfortunately. I was overexposed and had a sensitivity. Liver health is great, and that cured the MCS. Yeah, because it causes the brain to totally disconnect. Keeps you in fight and flight, which is why I did the brain retraining, which you can find information on that down below. TrayerWilderness.com/retraining the brain. Amazing stuff. You can overcome PTSD, chemical sensitivities, you name it. Any kind of autoimmune disease. Seriously, guys, we have so much power in our brains. Look up neuroplasticity. It's an amazing subject. It is totally amazing. Mill says, going back to work, but I'm listening. No worries, sweet friend. Totally get it. But keep a peek here so you can see. Okay, the book itself will not have the nasty gray line that says not for sale across the center of it and around it, which is kind of disappointing. But this is my proof copy, and I could not be more excited about this. I know you guys can see this the right way, so I'll leave it up there so you can read it a little bit. But the crosses from the dandelion travel around the spine and to the back. This is hard copy, and it has just turned out beautifully. I am so very thrilled, and this will be, it is processed on Amazon. I've got to wait for them to make it live. I'm going to share a link with you. This is not active right now until it is live on Amazon, but it is TrayerWilderness.com/relentlesslyfaithfuljournal, and it will take you right to the sales page. So keep checking it, because I processed it yesterday, and it takes up to 72 hours for it to appear on Amazon. But I am so thoroughly excited. This is not just a gratitude and prayer journal. As it said, it's building a relationship and strengthening your faith muscles while finding Jesus in those quiet and reflective moments. It has 14 pages in the very beginning where you can record your favorite Bible verses for the year. It then has 14 pages for your plans, your goals, plans, dreams, and desires that you can then seek Him to match them. It has 365 pages for your journaling, and each page has a quote or a Bible verse at the bottom. And there is an extra page for the leap year and 14 extra pages for journaling if you need them. And then there's 52 pages at the end for your weekly to-dos or your weekly prayer list. So you've got lots of extra space to write. It's a wonderful size. I am just so thrilled with how it turned out, and I can't wait for it to be available to you guys. And also to see the transformation in you guys from using this, because when we put gratitude and prayer in the forefront and keep our focus on God and allow Him to lead the way, and trust me, as you start doing this and creating the habit of writing things down, like my journal is basically like a conversation with God, and it's very powerful. It puts you in a very powerful place. So I wanted to share that, and I also want to share with you guys to read James. I think there's 5 books in James, if I'm 5 or 6, if I'm not mistaken. But so it's not a big chapter in the Bible, but it's very powerful, and I want to encourage you guys to read it this week, and or at least just start and continue reading it as you move forward. But it's a really good thing to focus on right now. So I wanted to put that out there. But I am super excited about that, and I will keep you guys posted. As soon as it's live, I will put a post out here on the community on YouTube. I will put a post on our community page, and I will be doing a video to release it. So super excited about that. That has been a long time coming. It had a lot of holdups, but what was funny is when I was doing it in August, because I wanted it to go live August 2nd. It was my daughter's birthday, and I was trying to do that. And I said to the mountain man, the better thing would be to put it live on 9/21 of 21. And I'm like, but that's way too far away. Well, it went live on 9/21 of 21. How funny is that? So that was God's little nudge, maybe. So Melissa says, book looks great. Thank you very much. I'm very excited, very happy with how it turned out. And like I said, anxious to see how you guys are able to utilize it and how it helps you guys. Would love to have you guys hit the thumbs up. Make sure you're commenting. If you're not watching the live and you're watching the replay, your comments are very valuable to us. We see them all. We read them all. We aren't always able to comment on everything, but we do see your comments and read them. So we greatly appreciate you. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and hit the bell next to the subscribe button and check to be notified, because we put videos up as well as doing live videos. Lots going on, lots of training, lots of education. And the more people we have and the more views we get, the more people we're reaching. And we want to reach people with our faith-led preparedness this year more than ever. Plus, everybody needs community right now. And we started a community the beginning of the year, end of last year, trayerwilderness.com/community. It is separate from all social media, so there's no rabbit holes, there's no garbage, there's just encouragement, uplifting, knowledge being shared. You can come and share your knowledge, because we all have a wealth of information and can all help one another. That is what it's for. So use it, guys. Get on there, communicate, chat. If you need prayers, let us know. It's a great environment. And we also have a lot going on in our academy at trayerwildernessacademy.com. Our membership will soon be going live, where we will have tons and tons of videos available to you to help you on your preparedness journey, homesteading, off-grid living, you name it. It's all going to be out there, all in the works. So check it out. And you can also find us at trayerwilderness.com, where we have our information from the get-go. We embarked on our off-grid journey back in 2010, and you can find our journey there. So are you guys still able to hear me okay? I'm just making sure. I'm still computing across the wires here. And as I mentioned before, if you guys could keep the mountain boy in your prayers, I would greatly appreciate it. We are trying to establish what's going on with his spine. He has a fracture between T12 and L1. And just concerned for him. He's in a lot of pain, so we're really trying to get answers. Jane says, we'll order nice Christmas gifts. Yes, and I want to tell you guys this. If you guys place your order, I want you to email me. Take a screenshot of your order number, of your sales receipt, and email it to me at books@trayerwilderness.com, because what I'm going to do is every month I'm going to do a drawing for those of you that have purchased, and you will be gifted a copy of the book that you can gift to someone else. So that is being mentioned here and mentioned here only. So make sure that if you are purchasing the book that you do email me at books@trayerwilderness.com, so you have a chance to win one for a friend and a gift, or for your next one. And I just want to put my intentions out there. Every year as I change the hashtag we're using for the year, because this year's is Relentlessly Faithful. Next year will be something else. I will be creating a new book. And with that being said, each book will be undated. So when you finish this one, towards this time next year, you can purchase the next one that will be different and inspiring and have different content to encourage you on each of your days as well. So I wanted to just let you know that and put that out there. And there will also be a lot of preparedness workbooks coming your way as well. Now that I have gotten this in place. Jane says, but I want the author to sign mine. Well, maybe I will put a something in place for that so that you guys can do that, because I know Mill mentioned that also. Being you are so close, we could just meet for coffee and I can sign yours right there, which I would love to do. So coffee or tea. Melissa says, still here. We'll be praying, Tammy, for Austin. We'll ask prayer from community I'm on. That's awesome. Thank you very much. I've been really recruiting prayers too for him. There's great power in prayer. There's great healing in prayer. And he's got such a high pain tolerance. So when he's fussing with pain, that really is concerning. Jane says, yes. All right, perfect. We will do that. We will do that. Okay, so today's topic is, this is Preparedness Month. We talked about, oddities and things that you may not think of last week. This week, I want to remind you that preparedness isn't just stocking up. So many people think that preparedness is just having hordes of things. That is part of it, and that's helpful because, you never know how long you may need to be in a preparedness mode. Could be powers out for 3 days, ice on the wires, powers down. It could be a hurricane or tornado comes through and wipes things out for a couple weeks, couple months. And then, it could be an EMP that takes things out indefinitely, and, I tell you guys this all the time. We do not need to live in a place of fear and worry. We need to live out of a place of faith. Doing the best we can daily with what we've got, but having faith like a child and as small as a mustard seed to know that God will meet you where you're at. But we need to do the best we can. And that's all I ever want to see you guys doing, is doing the best that you can in your current circumstances. What I want you to do more is build your faith muscles so that you truly have the faith to know that God will take care of you regardless what transpires. That is the most important thing. And that's typically what's lacking. Because if you have fear and worry, anxiety, weights of the world, that's the enemy just continuing to try to dig and chip away and get a stronghold on you. So fight him. Armor up. Read Ephesians 6. Armor up, guys. There's so much truth to all of this, and I want you to be there with me and growing your faith muscles. Melissa says, amen, Tammy. I'll grab a journal, Lord willing, soon. Need something like this. Awesome. It's very transforming when you learn to keep God first and really focusing on the good in your life. It is totally transforming. And I encourage it to everybody. Plus, if you can set a habit like that of recording in your journal every day and really make it a point to keep focusing on that, and you create that habit, you can create any habit. You can also break any habit. And that's what I want to see you guys doing. So it's not just stocking up, it is knowing how to be frugal. You know, in your current circumstances right now, you might be living in a 2,400 square foot home, 4,000 square foot home. You might be living in a 600 square foot apartment. But this is a society of overuse. Uh, gotta have the latest and greatest. Consumption. That was the word I was thinking of, is consumption. You know, you look at your electric bill, you look at your house every evening. How many lights do you have running? How many things do you have running that don't need to be running? You know, you live in a tent, you go off grid, you learn really fast how easy it is to be frugal, and also how important it is when you're in an off-grid situation. But it's just as important for you guys if you really think about it. If you became frugal in your current circumstances, do you know how much money you would save? One of the most consumed things is power and water. Pay attention. How many of you leave the water running when you brush your teeth and just leave it running and running and running and running? And then you talk to somebody while it's running because you have endless amounts of water. You ever get into a position where you don't have a lot of water, you're going to really quickly learn what a commodity it is, but also how to use it wisely. If you were using it wisely now, most of you are paying for city water. Do you know how much money you could save over time if you turn the water on, wet your toothbrush, shut it off, brush your teeth, turn it on, rinse your toothbrush, rinse the sink, call it good, you're done. Same with doing dishes and things like that. So pay attention to your usage, not just water, power, gas. How many of you run senseless errands because you didn't take your list or you forgot things when you were in town? Or because you just like to, you know, when you need it, you go. For me, I create a list. When I feel the urge that it's that necessary for me to leave here, then I go. I know I'm very backwards in thinking. I'd rather be here than out. So it's almost like it's a dread where most of you leave to go out because it's exciting. It's not for me. But anyway, these are all things and ways that you can conserve. You know, even running our generator. We have a generator that powers this house. For the last 2 months, even on gray days, the only time I've run it is if I had to fill my water tank or if I had to do a load to wash. I buckle down. I don't want to waste the fuel I have. And having that mindset is good, because when you do, if you do get into a survival situation, it won't be as big of a shock to you to have to buckle down. So it's up to you, but my recommendation to you is to start paying attention and try being more frugal. Just see what it does for you. The other thing is learning to keep yourself calm in circumstances. This is another practice that will save you if you do end up in a survival situation of any kind, that you are able to roll with it in a calm, collective way, because when you get worked up, your blood pressure rises. You become in an unhealthy state. Your brain, therefore, is unable to function properly. You make bad decisions. You don't make any decisions because you freeze out of fright and fear. So when you learn to keep yourself in a calm way, collective way, take some deep breaths and really evaluate your situation to determine what you need to do and what is the smartest thing to do, or to pray for guidance and direction. And being able to do that in an instant, in a heartbeat, and not being in a place of total dishevelment, because it won't serve you, your family, your children, or anything well. The other amazing thing is when you are able to put all these things in place, your children are going to learn from it. They watch what we do. They learn more from our actions than they do from our words. We all know how easy it is to shut these things off and just block out and turn off and only hear so much. But our actions speak volumes. And when they watch you come to a place of calmness, they learn that. Those are things that are instilled in them. Just like, we had things instilled in us that many of us are trying to still break because they weren't good. And there's good and bad. But the thing is, if we can teach our children anything, these are skills to teach our children. Plus, look at how things are going up in price. Just as an example, because this is one of the things I noticed the other day. I buy uncured bacon from a company and a brand that I know is good, and I was able to buy it at the store for like $4.69. It's now $6.99. This stuff is just skyrocketing. We see it. Everything is getting more costly. If we teach our kids this and teach them the skills as we are learning them and as we are adjusting to these things, we're teaching them life skills that will serve them so incredibly. So, see if you guys have said anything. Melissa says, with the mold a few years back, I parted with everything. It taught me. Yeah, because you had to get rid of it out of your home. I mean, once mold is on something, it's very hard to get it off. You can use a really strong industrial strength peroxide. Clorox does not kill mold. That's what they tell us, but Clorox does not kill mold. White vinegar is your best culprit for mold, but even so, if that thing gets wet or damp again, the mold's going to grow again. So mold is toxic, mold is tough, but that is a good learning lesson. And we were in the tent for 8.5 months with our things in storage. We just had a Rubbermaid tote with our essentials. And I'll tell you what, that was the most freeing and most amazing time of my life. I felt so light, so lighthearted, just so free. And then we moved everything into the house, and it just felt weighty and heavy and consuming. And I think that's why I love our tiny house so much. But even so, sometimes if it's like over full stuff, like if you could see my table in front of me, the mountain man is busy working on a project here. Yay! He's not doing these 16-hour shifts and eating and sleeping and leaving and all this crazy stuff. So, but my house shows the results of that too. So it's just funny. But that stuff is consuming, and you don't realize how consuming it is. So material things are material things. They have and hold no weight for me. The valuable things in my life are the things that are irreplaceable. So anyway, good statement, Miss Melissa. Okay. So something else is learning skills. We talk about that all the time. Skills, knowledge is power, but knowledge is only power once you put it to work. And I know many of you are like I am. I have lists of things I want to learn. And you can learn things, but when you don't put them to use, it's like even doing, let's use canning, for example. Most people just can this time of year. And it's kind of like a retraining process of getting your mind back into the routine, the pattern, the things that work, the process, the things that work really good for you when you go to do it. So that is one thing I want to mention to you guys. If you haven't done it already, if there's a lot of processes you do on your homestead, how you feed your goats, how you take care of your chickens, all the things you need to do to take care of your chickens, by writing that down, if it's something that you only do once a year, because I do that with some of the video editing I do and some of the classes that I create, because some classes are done differently than others and I don't do them as often. So when it comes time to do it, it's kind of a little bit of a brain fart, or just so that I don't forget one of the steps and miss something and leave something out. So I create processes for everything that I do so that that's in place. And also, with a homestead or your home, if you need somebody to come in and watch your house or take care of your animals, like for us, watching the house would involve knowing what to do with our solar if they're unfamiliar. So I can just print those processes out of my Evernote, mind you. If you're not familiar with Evernote, you need to check it out. TrayerWilderness.com/Evernote, one of the best note-taking app There is. It's amazing. But nevertheless, print them out, hand them off to somebody, and boom, you're done. You don't have to repeat the process. Same like directions to your place or insurance stuff. You know, make your life easy. That's part of learning skills. That's a skill to learn. That's a skill to make your life easier. It's repetitive. It's stuff you don't have to keep doing over and over again. So, you know, learning, that's a simple skill that you can put in action. So knowledge is power in that situation because you're learning not to waste time. But in the same process, when you're learning things that you aren't necessarily going to put in place right away, it's good to keep the books and the manuals on hand. It's back there, it's in there, and as you do it, then you will have great power, because when you put your hands into action, even just jotting notes down, writing your favorite Bible verses, it makes it stick up here. So once it's out of here and written with your hand on something, you're going to remember it a whole lot more. Same with if you're learning how to save seeds or solar dehydrate. Friday Kids Corner last week, that's what I taught them, was how to save seeds and how to use a solar dehydrator, how to use the sun ovens, and mentioned them. This week they're going to learn how to use a sun oven, but also that you can use your car to raise bread and even dehydrate things if you need to. Because of the sun beating on your windshield, windows cracked, you've got a great tool just in your vehicle to be able to do the things you need to do. You know, so putting your hands into it, learning the skills, doing the skills, and working with that is going to make these things stick so much more. So that is huge. Key says, when you homestead, there is never enough money. You have to develop skills that nobody has to survive. Working for wages doesn't cut it. Exactly. Exactly. Plus, with your, like the mountain man, for example, his blacksmith work, his furniture making, he will never, ever get paid what he is worth when it comes to selling anything he does, because of the time he puts into it, how meticulous he is. It's just, that's just the way it is. But amen, Keith, amen. And that's just it. You know, we do need to develop skills. If we want to homestead frugally and not have great expense, you need to learn the skills, because you will save yourselves money and be able to do things for yourselves, not just now, but moving forward, anytime you need something. You know, like I said last week, we have the scrap yard out back. With that scrap yard, we foraged tin. The local school was going to pitch all the tin, old tin, off the school. It's still good. It's still got a lot of life in it. It has the screw holes in it. So we have extra caulk on hand for a great reason. Caulking is another thing that we should have mentioned last week. I didn't think about that. Caulking and tar. Good things to have on hand. But with that being said, having that stuff on hand and having the skills we do, we could build guest houses. We could build chicken coops. We could build a barn. We can build a shop. That's what we got that tin for, was his shop. So, you know, being frugal was our first subject today. Being frugal to the point of, when stuff is free that might require a little work, barn being taken down, come forage and take all the barn wood you want. You just need to remove it yourself. There's a day, but man, do you know what you got? What an investment of your time to be able to take that and stack it, keep it protected, and be able to use that. You know, that's just priceless. Even something like that, you could turn that around and make signs and signage and different pieces of bookshelves, different things, and sell them. People want that barn wood in a tremendous way. There's so many things we can do. But being frugal is also, you know, not being proud. I do not buy new clothing. I cannot tell. Okay, that's not true. Undergarments, socks, we buy new. Anything else, it is secondhand. And most of the time, I'm fortunate enough to find stuff with tags on it. So it is brand new, but I pay like $2 to $7 for the stuff. I refuse to spend $60 on a pair of jeans. Are you crazy? Especially with all we do here. So, you know, being frugal can really benefit you. You know, so pay attention to that and how you're spending your money. All right, we got Herd Bull on here. Where are you joining us from? Would love to know. And we've got Miss Melissa saying, hello, Rhonda is in the house. She says, hello, everyone, break time. Thought I would check in and see what's going on. Just craziness at the Trayer Wilderness Homestead, but welcome, sweet friend. Herd Bull says, definitely check metal prices lately, and most stuff has very long waits. That and is like triple the price. We just priced some tin and absolutely insane. So, you know, being able to recycle stuff is huge. He also says Alaska Mill for your steel makes dimensional lumber too. Yeah, and we actually have a oh my goodness, I just went blank. We have a mill. The Mountain Man built that back in 2013, and that's how we built this house. This is, besides tin on the roof, insulation, electrical wire, and plywood for the floor, everything else in this we milled. So absolutely. And that is those Alaska mills are absolutely phenomenal. Being able to use the chainsaw mills, those are phenomenal just because you can pick up and move them anywhere. Our mill is on a trailer that the Mountain Man fabricated, but before that, you know, it was a real pain in the butt to move. It's a massive, massive mill, able to mill massive logs, which has benefited us greatly. And we've got a lot of milling to do upcoming when it comes to completing our shop, the pump house, the greenhouse, and the 2 guest cabins. So lots to do, but all in good time. Awesome. Mount Hood. And what is your name, if you don't mind me asking? We always like having new people join us. This is awesome, and I hope you'd come back. Melissa says it's pretty fulfilling. It's a pretty fulfilling life being frugal. None of that stuff is going to matter. Store up treasures in heaven. Exactly. You know, and I'll tell you, like I've told you guys before, material things cause clutter in our lives. It is just insane. You don't realize it until you downsize and get rid of stuff. I mean, this is 12 by 16, guys. I had the mountain boy here and 3 dogs this weekend, and I didn't put the stairs up. So it was quite a bit of shuffling in here because, of course, the dogs don't stay in one place. So they're constantly moving, and they're always right where you want to be. For the Mountain Man and I, this is the perfect space. But when you have a bunch of people, it gets there's a lot of dancing that goes on. But I love this amount of space. I'm really pleased with our, you know, for us, it's I don't know. I love it. Love it. I love it. So, all right, Robert, welcome. And we've got a really amazing community here. Very like-minded and encouraging, inspiring, and we're always happy for new people. So glad you joined us. He's from Mount Hood. That's so awesome you built the house that way. Oh yeah, it was awesome. Actually, on our channel, there's a playlist of our cabin build from day one, which reminds me, guys, what is today? Today is, I think, Sunday. Yeah, Sunday. The 26th is our year here. So crazy. We, on September 26th last year, we pitched the tent and started building. And we've been progressing to share everything with you guys that we do. And it will be a year on Sunday. So crazy. This year's flown by. It's just insane. Awesome. Yes. God is good. God is good. Also, Robert, we have a community. We would love to have you join. You can go to trayerwilderness.com/community. It's a free community, and you won't find a better group of people. We don't have trolls. We don't have negativity. It's just loving on one another, sharing our knowledge. You know, we all have knowledge to share, helping each other along the way, and inspiring each other. So glad you joined us. Awesome. Yes, thank you too. So here's something else that's really important, and that is learning to think differently than the average man. You know, I don't realize how different I think until I start responding to things sometimes, or I'm amongst people that are completely at the opposite end of the spectrum from me. And the best example I can give you is, let me see here, I need to plug in my iPad. The other week I had said about detaching from our electronics, how much our electronics affect us, you know, the EMFs. Oh yeah, I got to share this with you guys. This is quite something. Probably going to make my hair all staticky, but I'm not here for a beauty contest. That's the big poofy thing that goes in the back. There we go. There's my EMF cap to keep me from getting all the waves from all the electronics. Isn't that funny? I look like Eustace from Mountain Men. I just need the little beanie. I might have to sew one on. This is the way this works is this is the silver fabric on the inside. Silver is blocking the electromagnetic frequencies that come off of our machines. So I wanted to try it. So we'll see. If it works, you're going to catch me wearing it. I'm going to look like a dork, but it's all good. As long as my head doesn't like start throbbing while I'm live all the time. I don't know. It was really weird when I got COVID and that really came back and was affecting me. So pretty weird. Cool. Well, Melissa likes it, so that's good. That's good. Well, that's cool. A fashionable tinfoil hat. Exactly. I told the mountain man when I had COVID, I needed a tinfoil hat. It was crazy. I could not pick up an iPhone, an iPad, my laptop, all of that. My head just would woo, woo. It was bad. And I had that before 7 years ago after my surgery. I was really affected by that stuff, but nothing like after I had COVID, which speaks volumes to me. But anyway, we'll not go that lane today. But yes, I like that. A fashionable tinfoil hat. Thank you. I like that. But anyway, when I was talking about the electronics and getting rid of them and walking away and giving ourselves time away from the machines, because everybody's like this all the time. And it's like there's nobody being present anymore. Nobody's present. And my goal is to be present. I do use my machines for business. I mean, my iPhone, I write on it. I do my web work on it. I do my programming on it. It's pretty crazy. You know, I have a little keyboard that I can walk around the woods with. I don't know what I did with it. I mean, this thing is awesome. There's my little keyboard. Pops open. This thing is awesome. Goes in my back pocket. I can write from anywhere. But the thing is, I don't want to be that absorbed with my machine that I can't be present with those around me. But Toika said she left and went out and left her phone at home. And instantly I'm like, boom, I'm on that. I'm like, don't do that. You need your phone with you in case there's an emergency and you need to reach somebody. You know, it's just, I want to detach, but you've also got to be smart. And I don't mean any offense by this. She said her husband had his phone anyway. And so I get that. But there is great pleasure in walking away from our equipment. But my mind is always thinking out of the box with everything. You know, like, for example, heating our home and cooking. I could have an electric stove, but it would pull a lot of power for our off-grid setting. So that's not going to work. I could have a gas stove. That's great. They work amazing. They cook even. I love gas. Did love gas. But propane's going to eventually run out in a survival situation. The other thing is you could have a wood stove to heat your home and cook on top of that. You guys witnessed me doing that for the last 12 years. And there's wood all around us. You know, yes, it could eventually run out, but if the wood around us runs out, then there's a big problem. But cooking on a wood cook stove, I mean, you hear me talking about the love of cooking in cast iron and using my cast iron on the grill and on the open fire. And on the open fire and outside, that's just cooking you can't compare to. But this is the next best thing. I will never cook on anything other than my wood cook stove and in the oven on that thing. But that is the ultimate for a survival situation, is being able to cook on something like this. Now, if you're in a situation where you don't want the smoke drawing attention, you can do gasifier and different types of wood cooking that would turn the smoke to gas to keep from sharing your location. But it would still be wood. It would still be wood heat, wood cooking. So anyway, that's how my mind travels, where most people don't think like that. So that out of the box thinking, and like I said before, sometimes when I say out of the box thinking, people don't really understand what I mean, but that was a great analogy of what I'm talking about. It's a progression. It's a progression of what will work and what won't work. And how you can go from modern to basically traditional, pioneering, but also I mean, you got to think of it with the pioneers. They had to at times be in that same situation with the Indians and different things in their circumstances. So that's the out of the box thinking I want you guys to start putting in place. You know, like I mentioned last week with your things, with the, you know, glasses, zip ties. What all did we talk about? And like I said this week, caulking and tar, roofing tar. That can be used for so many different things. But all the duct tape, those things that you don't use on a daily basis, Gorilla Glue, all that stuff that you don't use on a daily basis, but that would be a lifesaver in situations, especially when you would need to, you know, break things, fix things that are broken. So let me see what you guys are saying. Jane says, I have to trade my foil hat in for one of those. Could bling it up a bit. There you go. Exactly. Look a little more fashionable out and about. I will share a link to that, by the way. 23 bucks, which isn't bad considering the other ones I found were 65, and I wasn't about to pay 65 bucks. The other thing was I wanted to try this out because if this stuff works, you can buy it in reams and make your own stuff. So that's what this girl's gonna do. I needed to try it first though. I'm not gonna go buy a ream if it really doesn't work. You know, lots of people are making money on some odd things these days. So anyway, extremely hard to avoid the electronics, that's for sure. Yeah, no kidding. Even in our situation, you know, I'm a web designer and programmer by trade, so I have to have electronics, although the day will come when I can pile them all up in the middle of the woods and put holes through them and feel really good about it when I don't need them anymore. But right now, they're essential, and they are destructive. Actually, the phone that I am recording on is a 5G phone, but I have all the 5G turned off. And I can feel it right now. Being between an iPad and an iPhone, I start to feel it right in here and at the top of my head. It's just really bizarre. So I am sensitive to that stuff. Most people don't realize it, but it is affecting their body. Keith will tell you. Keith will tell you. Keith is from New Zealand and was working with a lot of women that were using phones and had cancer on the sides of their head, and was working with Manuka honey, and they weren't willing to give up their phones. So most of those women are no longer with us today, which is a sad shame. Rhonda says, speaking of writing, when will your book be ready? Look, I picked it up Monday. The original will not have the not for sale with the nasty big gray marking all the way around it. So that will be missing, but this is my proof copy, and I published it yesterday, and it takes up to 72 hours for Amazon to get this live. But as you can see, all the crosses are traveling around the book to the back. I'm just so pleased with how this turned out. This is hard copy. The pages, it's flawless. I'm so excited. Each of the journal pages have they fluctuate every other. One is a Bible verse, one is a quote. All my favorites are in here. And you can go to trayerwilderness.com/relentlesslyfaithfuljournal. Right now that link is not working, but as soon as this baby is live, it will be working. I will then put a video out for the release of this on our YouTube channel. I will also do a post here on the community in YouTube, and then a post in our community live in the Trayer Wilderness community. So I'm super excited. It's a nice thickness. It's a nice size. And I'll just recap real quick. It has 14 pages for your favorite Bible verses, 14 pages for your goals, plans, dreams, and desires that you can now lift to God. And once you get them on paper, they start becoming reality, I promise you. 365 pages of the journaling pages. I designed this journal, I'm being transparent, because I couldn't find one that had everything in that I wanted. And also because I see the need, and I want to match this with our Bible study, as well as everything else we have going on, because when we keep gratitude and prayer in the forefront, life is amazing. This household has no fear and worry or anxiety with what's going on. We see it. It's sad. It's really, really sad. But we know that God is bigger than anything we're going to walk out. So being in a place of fear and worry is nothing but the enemy. And then, so this has 365 pages of journaling, an extra page for the leap year, and 14 extra pages in case you like to get lengthy. And then there are 52 pages at the very back that are for your weekly to-dos. I don't know about you guys, but when I'm doing my devotions, God starts dumping. So I want to have a place where I can write things and keep things without being distracted and move away, pulling my phone into things. You can also use those 52 pages for your weekly prayer list, because we get so many prayer requests and it's hard to keep track of them. So that is how this is going to get used. So I'm very excited about this. I will also share with you when this is released in the video, when I release it, some companion items that go really well with this because of it having multiple areas in here. So it's easy to traverse the book and be able to use it without having to try to find your spot. And I hate having like bookmarks that are hanging out and get caught on everything. So I have some ideas for you guys. Thank you so much, Robert. That was really awesome of you. Thank you. Yes, thank you. He says, excellent advice, praying for a successful hunting season. God bless. Yes, we are like super stoked. It's coming, and I am so ready to get the 270 Win Mag out because that's my favorite. And I love being out there hunting. Next year, though, it'll be archery. This arm is going to get strong again. So Keith says, living in a minority of one with many diverse native races showed me how backward we really are. Nobody seems to know what is important anymore. Amen, brother. Isn't it crazy? So crazy. It's like when you pull away from the world, you really start to see it from the outside looking in. And I think everybody needs to do that, because if you do that, you'd see how twisted it is. That's why I don't like leaving here. Tracy says, I really like to get lengthy. There you go. Well, my journal entries are as though I'm talking to God. You know, I do recap on things that are going on, but it's a communication. It's a prayer journal with God. And in doing that, the depth that I have in my relationship is just incredible. And that's what I want to see you guys get. What I have, if you think that what I have is unreachable and you would love to have it, for starters, it's not unreachable. All you got to do is keep drawing into him and seeking him. And I promise you, you'll get where I am. I wasn't always here. It was a process. God's been molding and working this clay for a long time. Oh, yours is almost done. Have you gotten anything yet? Robert says, please keep me in prayer for an elk. They've been very quiet. Okay, so that answers my question. They're talking right now in archery, but they're not coming in. So they're communicating. So at least you know where they are. But it's archery's work, but there is nothing better to me than archery hunting. And we have longbows and we also have the compound bows. But there's a romance to that type of a hunt. I love it. I love it. I love it. Same with the interaction with the elk and even turkey. Turkey hunting is one of my favorites as well. 4 days left in Oregon General Archery. Awesome. Well, we will definitely be praying for that, because if you're like us, what we harvest is what we live off of. So it's important to get. Miss Melissa has to run, but see you later. God bless. God bless you, girl. Praying for you. I have one thing I want to read to you guys today. The title of today was No Misunderstanding. Mountain Man and I read this morning, and it is worth the read. I just got to find it on here. Sorry, guys. Didn't have that ready because I was busy hanging my wash when we got on here. Okay. Whew, my head is starting to feel wonky. And if anybody else has prayer needs or requests, please let me know. Praises as well. Of course, the enemy is fighting me and will not let me open it. So I'm going to try this online. Oh, that stinks. This was like, I usually do screenshots so that I don't have this problem when I'm on here, but isn't that a bugger? Give me 2 seconds because I really want to try to read this to you guys. But in the meantime, share with me any praises you have and any prayer requests, please. There we go. And Robert, thanks for joining us. Spread the word. We are always looking to find new people on our channel, and also there it is. There it is. There it was. Just having new like-minded people joining us is so huge. Okay, I found it. I found it. I found it. This is good. All right, so it doesn't share the Bible verse on here right now, but I'm just going to read what I see so I can. Alexa, Siri, and other voice assistants embedded in smart devices in our homes occasionally misunderstand what we're saying. Imagine that. A 6-year-old talked to her family's new device about cookies and a dollhouse. Later, her mom received an email saying that an order for 7 pounds of cookies and a $170 dollhouse were on their way to her home. Imagine that also. Even a talking parrot in London, whose owner had never bought anything online, somehow ordered a package of golden gift boxes without her knowledge. One person asked their device to turn on the living room lights, and it replied, "There is no pudding room." Now, guys, think about this. They want these things to run our world, our businesses, our cars. No, thank you. Give me an old truck any day. But seriously, I mean, there's lots of disconnects. I'm a programmer and web designer. Trust me when I say technology is great only when it's working. So with that being said, there's no such misunderstanding on God's part when we talk with him. He's never confused because he knows our hearts better than we do. The Spirit both searches our hearts and understands God's will. The Apostle Paul told the churches in Rome that God promises he will accomplish his good purpose of maturing us and making us more like his Son. Even when, because of our weakness, we don't know what we need in order to grow, the Spirit prays according to God's will for us, which is greatly true, guys. I spent plus 15 days on my back on our couch, unable to move, in great pain. And the first week, I just was able to lay and stare at the ceiling. I didn't even feel like I could pray. My head hurt. My body hurt so bad. And I know the Holy Spirit was praying for me, because week 2, I started to feel better, but was still dysfunctional. But Holy Spirit's there for a reason. God loves us. God is there for us. God understands us. God knows our hearts. Nothing that we do or say can be hidden from him. Troubled about how to express yourself to God? Not understanding what or how to pray? Say what you can from the heart. The Spirit will understand and accomplish God's purpose. Guys, I've told you over and over again, there is no special way to pray. You just need to talk to God. My conversations with God are exactly like my conversations with you. My dog, same. I talk from the heart. I talk to God. I plead to God. I ask God. I love on God. I thank God. And, lifting our gratitude to God first every day in prayer is really, really important as well. And he does answer prayers. I promise you. I hope that through our experiences over the last 12 years, specifically the last 7, for those of you that have been following us, have seen God's hand tremendously in our lives, and the abundant blessings, and just how he cares for us, his presence alone. And that is just tremendous. So although our world is messed up, upside down, sideways, and disturbed, there's no misunderstanding God and God misunderstanding us. We need to keep building our faith muscles through these times. If you are experiencing fear and worry, anxiety, the weights of the world, keep flipping it to something positive and keep making that a habit. The more you do that, the more you will live out of a place of peace and comfort, even though around us everything is falling apart. We need to be in that place. That is a place of preparedness. Because we are with Jesus Christ and we are prepared for what's coming, and he's going to protect us. So remember that. Building our faith muscles is one of the most important preparedness skills we can put in place. Trusting him over everything else. There's nothing too big for him. He's working right now. We don't see it, but he's working and he's got a plan. And I believe there's going to be a revival. Not to say that it may not get worse before it gets better, but if you've got the right headspace going on, you'll be fine. I promise you that. I promise you that. I'm speaking from experience, guys, and many of you have walked that out with me. So I hope that helps you guys. I hope this was encouraging and inspiring, and I hope that through what I share with you, you are instilling new things in your life, making changes in your life, creating new habits, and making an effort to be in a different place than you currently are. It's really, really important, guys. I can't tell you enough. Robert, you're absolutely welcome. I take great pleasure in being able to pray for others, and I know much of this community does as well. So you will have a tribe praying for you. Tracy says, I want to know about your jars on the shelf. I know you showed me the one, but I'm curious where you got the others. I need storage jars for my pantry. Well, yes, second gen Cummings. They're all right. We've also got the 01 GMC 2500 HD diesel too with the Allison in there. So those are good too. You can still work on those. So I'm a Ford girl at heart. So the 7.3 manual transmission. But, you know, I like the meaty looking trucks. Not that the Dodges and the GMCs aren't, because those fall behind. And I've had a Dodge already too. And like I said, we had the GMC. But anyway, yes. And then we've got the 51 Willys Jeep sitting out here that needs some TLC. That's the Mountain Boys, but that is a sweet truck. I would love to have the Willys truck out there too. Yes, Joshua 1:9. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes. Lisa Rosebud, welcome. Glad to have you. Where are you joining us from? So glad to have you. Just remember, guys, God has a plan for us, each of us, and he will walk us through that. Tracy, I'm going to jump back to the jars in just a second. I just realized I went. I'm good at that. For those of you, that are not familiar with this, if you didn't know this, if you struggle reading the Bible, Bible.com has an app. You can do it online on your laptop, but you can also get their app, and it's Bible.com, and you can read in any version. So if the King James Version blows you out of the water with the these, thous, and thuses, that's me. It just makes my head rattle. So I like to read out of NLT, NIV, ESV, and sometimes also HCSB I like as well, but sometimes the Message, just for kicks and giggles. Dude, I love that book. That version just cracks me up. But it tells the story. So that's the important part, is understanding what you're reading, understanding the word. So I just wanted to share that today. Joshua 1:9, this is my command. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. I wanted to share that with you since Robert shared that. It tells us to fear not in the Bible 365 times. That's once a day. It tells us, it reminds us not to be fearful. And it also tells us to be courageous. That I'm not sure how many times. For some reason, I'm thinking 66. But we need to be courageous, and we need to be strong, and we need to stay in that space. All right, let me see. Awesome. Robert, it was a pleasure having you today. Thanks for joining us. I love the interaction. It's always nice to have people. There's many people that watch us and don't comment, and others that watch and really enjoy commenting. It's fun to have that interaction. I hate talking to dead space, and we've got a very interactive community, so welcome. I'm really glad to have you. Good luck hunting. We'll be praying for your elk. Come back and let us know how you make out. And if you join the community, share a picture of your harvest over there. We're not squeamish. Tracy says, that's okay. It was a little off topic. That's all right. We'll be praying for you all too. Have a great day. Thanks, Robert. A lot of these are ball jars. Some are cur jars, depending, like these big ones are my ball jars, but these jars like this, that's actually from a Hoosier piece of furniture. That's one of the jars from it. I got a call. I don't know what this one was from, but these are my collections of over the years, probably from the time I was like 18 or 20 on. I've always been drawn to jars. I love unique jars. You know, this was probably nothing fancy, but it's unique. And I like the different tops. This one is a European top with a glass insert and the open there. These are actually ball, and they've got porcelain on the inside and zinc, I want to say, on the outside. So, and then my big ones, I don't know if you can see it up there. Let me see. The big one right above my lantern. Those are replicas of the Hoosier jar. I do have some that are actually from the Hoosier jar, but a lot of them are replicas, and you can get them at Walmart. They're like, well, they were $4 to $6 depending on the size. But I love unique jars. So when I'm out and I find something unique, I've always sucked it up. I'll have to do a video on all my jars because I've got a lot and they all got a story. But thank you for asking, and no question is off topic. If you guys have questions that don't relate to anything but you want an answer, come and ask. That's what we're here for. We want to educate and share, and even if I won't cover the question on the live because it's you know, don't have enough time or something, I'll do a whole video on it. So ask, always ask here or in the community, okay? I'm going to say a prayer and let you guys get back to your day. Our day is pretty full, and I think the phone call that just came in was probably for the Mountain Boy's scheduling of his MRI. Nope, it wasn't, but I'm expecting that call. Check out all the links down below. I've got a lot of blog posts coming your way. Wood stove cooking, seed saving, solar dehydrating. The things I use from COVID. I'm sorry that's taking so long to get out there to you guys. I did share everything in the video, but there have been a couple additions to that. So those are blog posts that are coming. I will share them do the blog post on TrayerWilderness.com. You can check there. And then I will also be sharing those on Instagram and also on the community. So just stay tuned for that. And a lot of times what I'm covering in blog posts will also be covered on a video in some way or another, as well as the bathhouse and the solar system we put in there. Keith says, Fords are made of reject Holden parts, Tammy. My old Holden will still be holding together when the last Ford is in the junkyard. I totally hear you, brother. I get it. I'd rather have your Holden to begin with. So, yeah, our friend has an old International, and her name is Nellie. We've named her. Actually, his mom named her. And I would love my hands on that truck. But yes, exactly. I know. They're just meaty looking. But anyway, it's all good. As long as it's a truck, you can fix it and it's solid. You know, we need old trucks because the new trucks are going to die and blow up, or you can't touch them because they're so electronic anymore that you can't do anything with them, or they'll just be fried. So exactly. But I'm going to say a prayer here. Papa, I just thank you so much for this day. I thank you for your hand in our lives. I thank you that you took Rambler to heaven this week and took him from his misery. Thank you for the new people like Robert joining us. I thank you that you're keeping your hand on Keith in New Zealand and Carol in the UK, and with the escalated things that are going on there. And I thank you for how you're answering prayers for everyone. I ask that you keep your hand and hedge of protection over all of our community as a whole. And I just thank you for how you are answering prayers. Continue to be with Melissa. Continue to be with Jane and Shelley and Diana in getting answers for their health issues. I lift up Kelly and her family to you with Bobby, and just ask that you continue to work there and allow the evil to come forward. And just be with Tammy and her family as they've just got a lot going on, and just be with them. And I ask that you please touch the mountain boy's body today. Just remove his pain, help us to get an MRI fast and get answers here, and help us to find a good doctor, someone that's got their head on straight and that's actually serving the world with purpose and not with their head following the rest. And Papa, I just ask that you keep us all safe with all that's going on. Keep us in a good headspace. Help us to continue seeking you, and help us to create the habit of turning the enemy's attempts to knock us down into glory for you. And just keep us all safe, healthy, and well till we meet again next Wednesday. And just thank you for all you're doing, the miracles you've been working in this community, the answers to prayer, and all that you're doing in this world. We love you and ask all of this in your holy and precious name of Jesus. Amen. All right, guys. I thank you so much for joining me, taking time out of your busy days, for sharing your knowledge, your thoughts, communicating with me, because it's never fun talking to dead space. And I hope that you guys got something out of this. Keith says, I had a 1957 International AS-110. Yeah, I'm not sure what his is even, but they're good rigs. And they've got character. So I'm sure that your vehicles have had character. That just fits you well. But guys, I wish you a fabulous day. Keep in touch. I know things are escalated over there. We are keeping you in prayer, and just hope that things settle down here for all of us. But keep in touch. If you guys need prayers, need anything, get in the community and communicate with people. We are here for you, and I will see you guys next Wednesday, 10:30 Pacific Standard Time. And don't forget about the Bible study Thursday night, TrayerWilderness.com/Bible Study Book Club, 5:30 Pacific Standard Time, and Kids Corner on Friday, TrayerWilderness.com/Kids Corner, 2:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trying to educate the kids and the masses and love on all you guys. Thank you guys for your prayers for us. We so appreciate them and feel them, and just love you guys, your family. So have a fabulous rest of your day. God bless everyone.